Bismillahir, Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wahda, wa salatu wa salamu ala man la nabiy ba'da. Amma ba'd. So today we have a presentation. However, see, the technology isn't working. You would think that, in the 21st century, we would just have a button you touch and, just automatic. We don't need connectors and all that, cables. But alhamdulillah, ala kulli hal. That's what we learned a lesson from this, that we should check the night before, make sure all the cables are working and everything. But so as the ulama, the fuqaha, they say, "Ma la yudraku kulluhu, la yudraku julluhu." Whatever, just because you can't do all of a thing, doesn't mean that you don't do most of it. So, inshallah ta'ala, we'll move forward. Dr. Maz is seeing if he has another adapter. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq. I don't know how well this presentation is going to be without the actual presentation, the PowerPoint, but we'll do our best. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us benefit. The title of our presentation this morning is called The Origins of Christmas. Now, I'm not going to be talking about the hukum or the ruling of celebrating Christmas, as I believe all of us know what that is. However, when some years ago, when I heard a fatwa from one of the scholars, one of the people of knowledge, about the permissibility of celebrating Christmas because it is the birthday of Isa alayhi salam, and the mufti who was delivering the fatwa believed it was permissible to celebrate birthdays, whether it was the birthday of a prophet or otherwise, and so therefore he issued the fatwa of it being permissible to celebrate Christmas. And so from there I decided that inshallah I'm going to prepare a presentation on the issue of Christmas, so we can show that Christmas is not about the celebration of Isa alayhi salam, nor is it about his birthday. And we went to today, inshallah ta'ala, we're just going to talk about maybe 3 or 4 issues connected to one of the 3 or 4 of the big issues connected to Christmas. So we show the paganistic connection between those things and the act of Christmas, or the celebration of Christmas in our time today. You need this?
No, I'm going to try mine.
So what we're going to talk about today are 3 or 4 things. The date, December 25th. We're going to talk about.
Yeah, so mine works. So maybe
It's your iPad.
It's my iPad. So now CMC has to buy me a new iPad.
That's
right. Updated.
So everybody sees it, right?
Apple
do you want
Intelligence.
to airdrop things to me or no?
Can I do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, guys.
Just
So,
share it.
all right, so I'm gonna share it. Hold on, let me.
Oh, wait, that-
Send a copy.
Yeah.
Airdrop. Ghulam Rabbani. You're the only one. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, Dr. Mas. Here we go.
The issue is my laptop is about to die. Really charging.
I think we were doing fine without the.
We're doing fine without it? We're just gonna go on without it, inshallah.
Busy world.
And
We got a new iPad.
yes.
It's on the way.
Now, it's the iPad Pro, by the way. So just so y'all know when you go shopping for me.
Oh, we gotta update.
So inshallah, time we're going to talk about December 25th. We're going to talk about the Christmas tree. We're going to talk about the mistletoe, and we're going to talk about the Yule log. So these are the issues that, inshallah, ta'ala, we're going to be discussing. Okay. Now, let's start with the date December 25th. December 25th, really, it coincides, well, before that. One of the things, so that we can put this in context, is that the Romans, one of the things that they did in order to spread Christianity, because that's how they ruled. They ruled through religion, right? They ruled through religion because the ruler was the divinely, the person who God gave him the right to rule, and the church would support that. And so in order to dominate and to keep their lands under control, they would convert the people that they conquered into Christianity. But in order to convert these people and get them to commit, they used to employ a tactic, which what they would do is they would take customs that they were familiar with, and they would Christianize those customs, so that the people that they were taking over, which were pagans, like the Druids, the Scandinavians, these individuals that they were taking over that had these paganistic rituals and traditions, they would Christianize these traditions to make Christianity more appealing to them, and they would come over to Christianity, accept Christianity, and accept the church, and then in turn, they would fall under the rule of the Romans. This was what they were doing all over the place. Every time they would go in and conquer a land, then this was the tactic that they employed. So one of the pagan traditions that they had Christianized was one of the festivals. It was called winter solstice. Winter solstice was a tradition of the ancient pagans where they would celebrate the long night, because between December 21st and December 24th, someday in there, it's the longest night of the year. It's the longest night of the year. And so when the Romans came in and they had their sun god, and so they came and they took the winter solstice and they turned Saturn, the sun god, and they marked December 25th as the birth of the sun god. And so this was linked to the winter solstice, and they considered this the rebirth of the sun, so that the days would now start to lengthen. Because this was the longest day, this was the longest night. And so since it was the longest night, then the nights start to get shorter. So they considered this to be the birthday of the sun. They considered this to be the birthday of the sun. And this is why we started to get the 25th of December. Now, what we have to understand is that the first three generations of Christians did not celebrate Christmas. The first 3 generations of Christians did not celebrate Christmas. That's a long time. Christmas was something that didn't come into play until many years later. So this winter solstice, or what they call the celebration of Saturn, the sun god, in Northern Europe, it was known as Yule. It was known as what? Yule. Right? So it was the celebration of Yule. And you'll even see in our Christmas carols that you'll hear today, you hear the recognition of the celebration of Yule. To this day, you'll hear the recognition. Anybody know, has ever heard, if you've been out into Macy's or in the grocery stores, you've heard the song Deck the Halls, right? You know what I'm talking about? Rashawn, you still remember Deck the Halls? Right? Dr. Maz, you've ever heard Deck the Halls? Has anybody, you heard Deck the Halls? Deck the halls with bells of holly, right? Right, that song. I heard it all my life. So even though I tried to get out of my head, it's just something that as soon as I go into the store, I hear the jingle and all the lyrics come back to me. Anyway, so the song goes, deck the halls with bells of holly, with bells of holly. Fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Now, everybody believes that when they say 'tis the season to be jolly, that we're referring to what? Christmas. That's not true. That is not true. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel. Fa la la la. Yeah, our happy clothes. We're putting on our clothes of celebration. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. Fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol means sing the ancient Yuletide carol. Right? Sing the ancient Yuletide carol. So this song is not about Christmas. This song is not about Christmas and being jolly and happy about the season of Christmas. This is a song in representing the happiness of the celebration of Yule. And what they would do at the winter solstice or Yule as they call it, they would take evergreens. They would take evergreens and they would decorate their walls, which is why they call it deck the halls with boughs of holly. Holly is a type of evergreen. And so they would take these evergreen branches and they would decorate their halls, because in wintertime, what happens to the trees? Right? They die. Okay? But evergreens, because they call them evergreens because they don't die. They stay green even throughout the winter. And so they would decorate their halls, they would decorate their fireplaces and their homes with these evergreen branches in order to, and in Arabic we call it tafa'ulan, as a means of seeking good fortune and hopes for the future. And because the evergreen is green and it represents, to them it represented life. And so this is why they used to have this type of festival, this celebration. Now, we know for certain that Isa alayhi salam was not born in December 25th. He wasn't even born in the winter. Now, I know that for two reasons. Number one, when I was in high school, I went out and started to search this issue on my own. I went to this high school library and I looked up in the encyclopedias that we had. One of them was Encyclopedia Britannica, and the other one was, I think it was called the World Encyclopedia. I don't remember the name of it right now. But no one, according to these historians, they didn't have an exact date for when Isa alayhi salam was born. However, what they all agreed on was that Isa alayhi salam was born closer in the spring or in the warmer months. Isa alayhi salam was, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica and the World Encyclopedia, Isa alayhi salam was born in the warm months. Now, later on, I didn't know this at the time, but later on, the more I learned of the Quran, I realized that the Quran itself even confirms this. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Maryam, when He tells us about the birth of Isa, He tells us that that Maryam was commanded to go and shake the tree. And what was going to fall down?
Dates.
Huh? Dates? Dates were going to fall down?
Dates.
Is that the word that Allah Ta'ala used? What's the word that Allah used? Who said it? Yes. Rutab. What are rutab? Tanveer, what is rutab? Anybody know? Yeah, Jama'ah, where the Arab brothers at? Don't know? Okay, no one knows? Shaykh.
But ripe date.
The ripe dates. The ripe dates. Because so dates go through they go through phases. And the Arabs at each phase of the life of the date have different names. So dates or timber, those are the older dates. So by the time a date becomes a timber or a date, that makes sense. By the time a date becomes an actual date, then it's already gone through a series of stages. So when you see dates, for example, sometimes you'll find them yellow, right? Have you ever seen those? They're on the bunch, and they're kind of crunchy, right? That's how they look when they first bloom. When you leave them for a little while longer, they become a little bit brown. They still have yellow on the ends, and the front portion of it is brown, and they're very sweet. These are rutab. These are the rutab. And this is when they're first blooming and they first become ripe. And they fall to the ground and they sit for a little while longer. Then the date becomes entirely brown, and then it loses sweetness. Now that's a timber. We call those dates. But when they are fresh, with that yellow tip, and they're very soft, like you put them in your mouth and they melt, and they're extremely sweet, we call those rutab. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the reason why I'm mentioning that is because it's important, because the rutab are not there except in the warmer months, like in the spring and the summer. They do not bloom in the winter. And so in the Arabian Peninsula, they come out around in Ashab, and in the Arabian Peninsula, I think it's somewhere between June, July, August. And I think in northern Africa, places like Algeria and Morocco, I believe it even extends maybe into September. But maybe the brothers can correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe, but that's it. That's on the further edge of the date of the timeline of the year. But dates, or the rutab, the fresh dates, they do not bloom except in the warmer months. So we know for certainty that Isa alayhi salam was not born in the winter. That's according to the Western historians, and also the Quran also confirms it as well. And so, so now December 25th, if Isa alayhi salam, if his birthday, right, if we're going to say that Christmas is about the celebration of the birthday of Isa alayhi salam, if this is what we're going to say, then by Western standards and also by Islamic standards, Isa alayhi salam was not born in December, let alone December 25th.
Yeah, Quran says that Maryam was given fruit out of seasons.
Huh?
Quran says that Maryam was given fruit of
That was when she was with Zechariah.
the people.
That was when she was young and she was with Zechariah. So again, the winter. So December 25th was not about the birthday of Isa alayhi salam. December 25th is about the celebration of this winter solstice, which predates even the Christians. This celebration of this time of year, it predates the Christians, where it goes into the traditions of the Vikings, the Druids, and all of that. And so the next issue I wanted to mention was the issue of the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree. Because now what we see now there's a type of tashabbuh, there's a type of imitation of the Christmas tree, and people are calling it the E tree. Have y'all seen these? The E trees? No, you haven't seen them? They've been out for years. No? Nobody's saying it because maybe y'all have them in your house and you don't. So let's get into it. The E tree came about as an imitation of the Christmas tree, and it's a type of the original ones. They now have plastic ones, but the original E trees were evergreens, just like the Christmas tree. But it was in the shape of a moon and a star. They cut out an evergreen tree, made it into the shape of a moon and a star. And they call it the E tree. And it's an imitation of the Christmas tree. Now, the Christmas tree traditionally was an evergreen. It was used to celebrate festivals for thousands of years. For thousands of years, they used the evergreen tree for their winter festivals. And as I mentioned before, pagans used to take the branches of these evergreens and then decorate their houses during the winter solstice. And the Romans, they used to use these evergreens to decorate their temples during their celebrations. Decorating the evergreen was a Yuletide custom, and just like giving gifts and food and clothes and toys to the kids was a custom of the celebration of Yule. It was a Yuletide custom to decorate, to give gifts, and to sing songs. This is why as we go back to the Deck the Hall song, troll the ancient Yuletide carol, right? Because the Yuletide carol are the songs of Yuletide, and they would do these, make these songs. It was very celebratory. Now, one of the other discussions that come around when it comes to the issue of the tree is the issue of Nimrod. Does anybody know who Nimrod was?
Uncle of
Yes.
Was the king that Ibrahim spoke to?
The king that Ibrahim spoke to? His name may have been Nimrod, but this was a different individual. They may have been his name. Allahu A'lam. But Nimrod was somebody who was mentioned as a biblical reference in Genesis, way before Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was the grandson or the great-grandson of Noor alayhi salam, according to the Christian references. So according to the Christian references, and it's no problem that we are mentioning them just in case someone may have had an issue, as the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, hadithu an bani Israel wa la haraj. Take from Bani Israel and tell their stories and no problem. Meaning like lineages and things like that. So we're not confirming, we're not denying, but this is what has been mentioned. According to them, a man by the name of Nimrod was the grandson or the great-grandson of Noor alayhi salam. And he's been credited, according to these historians, as the one who built the Tower of Babylon. He's been credited as the one who built the Tower of Babylon. He's the one who was credited with the sorcery and all of the evil things that came out of Babylon that we know about. There's no need to go into detail, but all of the evil things that came out of Babylon, that Nimrod was the king who this is associated with. Now there was a woman named Semiramis, who some historians claim that was his wife. Some claim that was his mother. Some say that it was his wife, some say it was his mother. Allah knows best. Some say she didn't even exist altogether. But when Nimrod died, she deified him as a god. And what she did was she planted this evergreen tree. She planted this evergreen tree, and she told people that on December 25th, which happened to be his birthday, December 25th just so happens to be the birthday of Nimrod. She told people that every December 25th, this evergreen tree comes out, and this is Nimrod coming to be reborn. And so every December 25th, this evergreen magically pops out, right, which is a symbol of his deification. So he was a guy, he was deified and turned into a god, and subsequently, this woman, Semiramis, she became known as the Queen of Heaven, which, as we said, maybe it was his wife or maybe his mother. Allah Ta'ala knows best. The mistletoe. Are y'all familiar with the mistletoe? What time is the sunrise? 7:10?
7-8.
7:08? Okay, we have a few more minutes, inshallah. Now, are we familiar with the mistletoe? Right, the people, they hang them up. When you stand under the mistletoe, you're supposed to kiss the person you're under the mistletoe. This is the custom. Well, the tradition of hanging the mistletoe goes back to the ancient Druids, the pagans. It's because they believed that the mistletoe possessed mystical powers, which was supposed to bring them good luck, bring the household good luck, and to ward off evil. It was also used as a sign of love and friendship, which is where the kiss actually came from. And so this mistletoe, the practice of hanging it up, the people who instituted this, they were people who believed that the mistletoe had powers. It had the power to ward off evil. It had the power of protection. And so when they hung up the mistletoe, they believed in its protection and its divine protection over the people and over the household. And as I said, they used to believe, they used it as a symbol of love and friendship, which is where the issue of the kissing came from. The last issue I wanted to talk about, since we only have a minute or so, is the Yule log. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Yule log. The Yule log is also a tradition that comes from the ancient pagans. And this is where they would take a branch, or a log from a tree, one of their evergreen trees, they would chop up and make a log. They would decorate it with branches of the evergreen leaves, okay? And then they would put it into the fire. They would build a fire from the log, because they believed that burning the log was a sacred fire ritual. Burning the log was a sacred fire ritual, and it was, and some of them actually burned it as a sacrifice to their gods. And the fire for them represented a rebirth of the sun. Some of them would actually even bless the log with anointed wines and anointed oils. They would put, after the decoration, they would bless the log with these special oils. And then, can anybody guess how long they would keep this fire burning? Anyone want to take a wild guess?
24 hours?
No, longer than that.
All winter.
How many days of Christmas are there? 12. 12 days. They would keep the fire burning for 12 days. And so, if we start to really unpack some of these customs and rituals, we'll see that these customs and rituals and celebrations do not have anything to do with the birthday of Isa, or celebrating Isa alayhi salam. Maybe modern days, in the more modern times, within recent history, maybe they have tried to take some of this and turn it into about Isa alayhi salam. Some churches actually try to do that. But the origin of these festivals, this is what people are celebrating. They're celebrating ancient pagan rituals. Winter solstice, the celebration of Yule, to the point where, I don't know how to, I wanted to show this on this is a cake. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Can y'all see this picture? They sell this in some of the Muslim countries around December time. Right? It's a Yule log. It's a Yule log. They sell this in the Muslim countries at the time of right around Christmas. But this log itself was believed to be something special that was worshipped by these pagan individuals. And so for us to now to adopt any one of these customs, or to take it lightly, believing that this is not a very big deal. This is a big deal. Because all of these customs, every single one of them, if we had enough time, we can go through every single holiday that we have in this country, and I can trace it back to pagan origins. Every single one of them. All of the major holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all of them have these pagan origins. And so this is the big deal when we talk about the celebration of these days and why it's impermissible to take these days as days of celebration, because we're giving life to pagan rituals. It's not just, it's just a tree. Oh, it's just some lights. Oh, it's just a mistletoe. Why are you getting so mad over a cake? Because at Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the basis of our religion. Allah ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. And we sent to every nation a messenger proclaiming, worship Allah and stay away from the false deities. These pagan rituals, need to get rid of them out of our lives. We need to get rid of them out of our lives. And lastly, I wanted to point out, it just came to me, I was just watching a video on YouTube. You know how sometimes you're watching videos, something that's beneficial, and then on the side it says, suggested for you, right? That's where they get you caught up, right, on all the nonsense. And sometimes your eye gets caught up on a catchy title. Anyway, it was something catchy, so I hit play. And it was a pastor in a church talking. They had a Christmas tree on the stage, and the pastor was warning his congregation about having Christmas trees in their homes. And I was very surprised, because I know Jehovah's Witnesses, they're against these celebrations, but I didn't know that there were other Christians who were against this. So this was something new for me. Anyway, so if there are Christian pastors themselves that are warning their congregations against these aspects of celebrating Christmas, then we should also be warned. We need to get rid of the trees out of our homes. I was very surprised. And one of our flyers had a family sitting in front of a fireplace with the Christmas tree in the corner. Alhamdulillah, we got that cut out. I didn't actually catch it the first time. But here we have a family. This is a completely Christmas custom where the family gets together, dresses up in all the same sweater, sits in front of the fireplace with the Christmas tree on the side, take a family photo. Right?
Quick question. The concept of Santa Claus, is that a new one, newly introduced, or is that also has?
No, that also has. That also, we can.
He sees when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake.
Yeah, he sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. They deified and given him the characteristics of an elect. Traveling around the world.
He knows when you're bad or good.
Traveling around the world in a matter of hours.
With the deers and all. With the
deer, flying deer, and he's giving, the magic elves. All of this is, it has its roots. And inshallah, one day maybe we can discuss, the origins of Santa Claus and where, actually, because Santa Claus has some very evil, some deep origins to it. The concept of Santa Claus.
Imam, I have a question. In terms of addressing it with our kids, especially younger kids, and them feeling like, oh, I'm missing out, or especially how schools are off, or families are together. How do we address that?
So, one of the ways that I used to do it, and I'm not going to tell you that this is the way, right? This is just my advice and what I've done, and I believe that as a parent, I wasn't very successful in a lot of things. But this issue here, I believe I was successful. Alhamdulillah. The very first thing that I did when it came to the issue of Santa Claus and Christmas and all of this is I never mentioned it. Right? I never mentioned it. So talking about the importance of this or Santa Claus and all of that, I never ever talked about Santa Claus or any of the Christmas issues, alhamdulillah. The second thing that I did was on the Eid, I made it as big as I could. When my children were very, very little. Obviously when they got bigger, it wasn't as easy to do it big. When they're little, gifts are cheaper. When they get older, gifts are a little bit more expensive. They want iPads and iPhones. Right?
I'm saying the kids make an important case. They say that Santa Claus resembles like a Muslim. He has a beard and everything.
So what I would do is on the day of Eid, I would make it as big as possible. I'd make it a huge deal. I'd jump around. I wasn't necessarily as excited as I made it out to be, but I tried to inject excitement into the home. And I bought gifts. I wrapped them in newspaper. I took newspaper. I wrapped them up. We would decorate with those Eid decorations. We would as much as possible. I put as much into the Eid as I possibly could. I made sure everybody was wearing brand new clothes. We had, I bought special dishes that only come out on Eid dishes. Silverware, we have these crystal cups that I purchased. Very expensive stuff that only comes out at this time. Why? In order to generate the feeling of like this is a special occasion, and I believe that if we do it big enough, our Eids, if we do them big enough, then it will serve as I don't want to call it a replacement, right? But when the discussion comes up, Baba, why are we not celebrating? I want Christmas. But hopefully if we do Eid big enough, it can be bigger for them and they have more of a connection to their Eid than they'll have to the Christmas. But Asif, we have people who send their children to school on the day of Eid. Those of the Muslims who their children don't go to the Muslim school, we have Muslims who send their children, they come to the Eid prayer, right? Pray Eid. Right away they're out of the door. They drop their kids off at school and they're back at work. 9:30 a.m., it's as if Eid didn't happen. It's just a regular day. If this is how we treat the Eid, of course they're going to long for Christmas. They're going to long for Halloween. They're going to long for Valentine's Day. They're going to long for the 4th of July. Why? Because the kuffar around them are making a big deal about these days. They do it up. They make it big, right? Everything is big at Christmas and it lasts for a month. They get excited about these days. If we don't get excited about our tradition that we believe is the truth, then how do we expect our children to get excited over these things? Now,
Shaykh, heck a lot. I resonate with what you're saying because, like, we grew up like that, right?
Right.
For many people who didn't, they view all of these things as just like American culture. So it's easy for them to just dive in because they don't attach any ibadah to it at all.
No.
But as you're saying, the crux of all of these things is that. So how is it that, like, you know, with all of these holidays, right? St. Patrick's Day, wearing green on that day, or like, I'm just showing love on Valentine's Day to my wife. What's wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
How can we make it more of a focus of we shouldn't be celebrating anything unless we know about it?
I think you know, bringing awareness. I remember the last time I showed this actual presentation. I think it would have been better with the presentation. I showed the presentation in the Masjid, and people were just flabbergasted. You know, they had no idea about any of this. As you said, they thought this was just American culture. This is not American culture. Actually, a lot of these holidays weren't even celebrated in the United States, you know, until recently. Does everybody know that Halloween was outlawed for the longest time? Halloween, the celebration of Halloween, that came over to the United States with the Irish. When the Irish immigrated into the United States, this is where Halloween came from. When they first started trying to practice it, they outlawed it. It was outlawed. And so a lot of the history, a lot of things during my grandparents' and my great-grandparents' time, it was not present. A lot of things are completely different now. But now people come over because they watch things like on TV. I had a brother tell me that he used to watch the show called Dallas. Do y'all know what Dallas is? Yeah. He said he told me he thought everybody in America flew helicopters. Because he used to watch Dallas. And so they believe that television, what they saw on television was it's American culture. But that's not the reality. It's not the reality at all. So what I'm asking today, out of all of this, is go home and do your research on things. Before you just engage, before you go and get involved and adopt something as a practice, Google it, research it, read up about it, so that you can know what's going on before you just engage in it. Yes?
So, one of the other pagan traditions, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think is blowing candles on birthday cake.
Yes, that is also fire magic.
The question becomes, especially with kids, sometimes even like, you know, other people in your family, they want to like celebrate their birthdays. What do you remove? Just speak about that for me. Because I don't even care about birthdays, but other people do.
Allah Musta'an.
And that's a harder one to tackle because people are so far abstracted from like the pagan traditions.
I'm going to say this since you asked. I don't want anybody to get angry with me when I say this. But the truth is the truth. And that is, it is impermissible to celebrate birthdays altogether, whether by candle or steak dinner or all of these celebrations. Why? as first and foremost, this birthday celebration has its roots in pagan rituals. As you said, the candles and the birthday cake is a type of fire magic, right? You make a wish, right? You light the candle, you make your wish, and you blow it out. This is witchcraft. It's a type of witchcraft, and they do in fire magic. They light candles, and they call on the universe, and they envision things, all of that, right? You can do all the research you need to do on fire magic, or what they call candle magic, right? There are books that are written out here, it's called, and the books very openly are calling to it. Actually, you don't even need to buy the books. You can go on YouTube. You can Google candle magic, and all of this will come up. Anyway, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the hadith, that Allah Ta'ala said in the hadith Qudsi, Al-Kibriya'u ridai wal-'azamatu izari فَمَنْ نَازَعَنِي وَاحِدًا مِنْهُمَا فَقَدْ أَدْخَلْتُهُ النَّارِ. He said that pride is my upper garment, and al-'azama, glorification, is my lower garment. So whoever contends with me in one of the two, I will enter him into the fire. And so what this hadith means is that ta'zeem, the elevation of something or someone, is impermissible unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the permission to elevate someone or something. So everyone and everything in every place is treated as normal. If we want to elevate someone, some place, or something above its normal status, then that's called ta'zeem. And in order to do that, we need permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we do not have it, then that person, place, or thing is treated like any other person, place, or thing. Like this here. What is this? Cable, right? Is it special? No. Which means it gets treated like any other cable. But the moment I take it and I anoint it with special oils and I place it in a protective casing and I put it up and no one is allowed to touch it, right? We're not allowed to stand above it, right? We can only face it with our right side. If we face it with the left side, then that's a problem. It's disrespectful, right? Now what have I done? I've elevated the cable. I've given it status and position that it doesn't deserve, right? And so a ta'zeem is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we elevate people, places, and things only by Allah's permission. There are places that are special. There are people that are special. There are days that are special, but they're special because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it a special status. So when you take your birthday and you give your birthday a special status and elevate it above other days, I'm going to ask you, what is your dalil, what is your evidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this day special over other days? And if you cannot give me an evidence, and I haven't asked you, then why do you treat it as different or as special? So, this is a long, very, very long discussion, which I know Tanveer is going to come and say, hey, amen, don't say that, There are sheikhs, who say it's permissible, no problem. However, when we do a deep dive, right, on the issue, we'll see that these things have their roots in paganism. And we need to avoid all of that. Anniversaries, birthdays, all of this should be avoided. We should celebrate life every day. And I apologize, I know that we're running a little bit over time, but the brother asked an important question. Every day is a celebration of life. Every day, every moment is a celebration of the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Every single day we need to be appreciative of the breath that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us. Not just on our birthday. We don't celebrate our mothers just on Mother's Day. We don't celebrate our spouses just on Valentine's Day. I think that is rude and disrespectful to my mother to tell her Happy Mother's Day as though this is her day, as they say. This is your day. No, every day is your day, mother. Every day is your day. Because Allah, through you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought me into life through you. Without you, there would have been no me after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every day is your day, mother. You know, ana tahta amrik. You call, your wishes is my command. Whether it's Sunday, whether it's Wednesday, whether it's April, May, June, or July. You want breakfast in bed? Al-Ras wal-Ayn. You want me to vacuum your floors? You know, here I come. Not just because it's Mother's Day or Father's Day. Your wife deserves roses just because she's your wife, not because it's anniversary or because it's Valentine's Day. You want to take your wife out to dinner? Take her out to dinner. Do something special. You don't have to wait for Valentine's Day. Every single day is an opportunity to be appreciative to the people that we have in our lives. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and guide us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me for if I've said anything wrong. I ask the brothers and the sisters to forgive me if I've offended anyone. Anybody who wishes to continue the discussion, inshallah ta'ala, I'll be in the cafeteria and we can have the discussion. I'm very open for conversation, but let's keep it respectful, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. May He accept from us our good deeds and our righteous actions. May He overlook our faults and forgive us of our sins.